In 1921, almost nobody was ashamed of their breath. You lived your life. You spoke close to the people you loved, and it never occurred to you that the air leaving your mouth might be a secret disqualification. Then, within a few years, that anxiety was everywhere. Millions lay awake wondering if the reason for the second date that never came. The promotion that went to someone else was a condition they couldn't even smell on themselves. Nobody discovered this affliction. Nobody's breath got worse. A company whose product had been used as a floor cleaner and a surgical antiseptic went looking for a bigger market. They pulled an obscure medical term from an old journal and aimed it at the population like a weapon. The word was halitosis. And this is not really a story about mouthwash. It is the story of the most powerful, least understood machine of the modern world. A machine that does not sell you things. It sells you the feeling that something is missing. And then, for a price, the thing shaped to fill it. It manufactures the lack, and once you see it working, you will watch it reach again and again straight into your chest. The company was Lambert Pharmacal. The product was Listerine. They did not sell freshness. They told a story. Her name in the most famous ad was Edna, approaching 30, which the ad treated as a quiet catastrophe. Lovely, charming. Everyone liked her, and yet she was often a bridesmaid, never a bride. The ad leaned in and told her the secret everyone supposedly knew and was too polite to say. It was her breath. Then, the cruelest line, even your closest friends won't tell you, a condition you cannot detect in yourself. So you can never be safe. So you buy the cure forever, just in case. Sales went from about $100,000 a year in 1921 to more than 4 million by 1927. Notice what was sold, not a product. An insecurity relief bottle after bottle from a fear that hadn't existed a decade earlier. A fear the company selling the cure had reached in and installed. This was not one company stumbling onto a trick. At the same moment, a man was writing down the theory behind it with a bloodline almost too fitting to believe. His name was Edward Bernays. He was the nephew of Sigmund Freud. Bernays took his uncle's map of the unconscious, the hidden drives underneath behavior, and pointed it at commerce. Freud wanted to understand those drives to heal people. Bernays used them to move people. In 1928, he wrote a book and called it bluntly propaganda. People, he argued, are driven not by reason but by desires and fears they don't understand. And a small invisible group who understood those mechanisms could do what he later called engineering consent, while the public believed it was choosing freely. And he proved it. In 1929, the American Tobacco Company was missing half its market because of the taboo against women smoking in public. They hired Bernays. He did not make an ad. He asked a psychoanalyst what cigarettes meant unconsciously to women. The answer, a symbol of male power, of freedom, of defiance. So he arranged for fashionable young women to march in New York's Easter parade, and in front of photographers he had personally alerted light up in public. And the press was handed a phrase for what those women were holding: torches of freedom. He did not sell women a cigarette. He sold them liberation, with the cigarette smuggled in as its symbol. The next morning the papers were full of it and the taboo began to crack. There it is. The insight a century of advertising is built on. Stop selling the thing. Sell what the thing secretly means. People do not buy products. They buy better versions of themselves. Now watch the same machine build an entire tradition out of nothing. In the 1930s, there was no rule that a proposal required a diamond ring and no rule about what it should cost. Diamonds were expensive stones whose price had collapsed in the Depression. and De Beers, the company controlling most of the world's supply, was in trouble. So they hired an advertising agency. And in 1947, a copywriter named Frances Gerety, working late one night, wrote four words: "A diamond is forever." With that phrase, they welded an ordinary rock permanently to the idea of eternal love, and invented essentially from scratch the tradition that a real proposal requires a diamond. Then they told men exactly how much to spend: a month's salary. Later, too, there was no ancient custom. There was a company with too many diamonds and a copywriter with a genius for manufacturing need. And millions now believe in their bones that a diamond is the eternal symbol of commitment. A tradition younger than some of the people watching this. The word forever was the greatest trick because it hid the fact that the whole thing had a start date and a marketing budget. So, why does this work? Why is it so easy to install a desire in a human being that wasn't there an hour ago? A French thinker named René Girard spent his life on this question, and his answer is unsettling. Almost nothing you desire, he argued, is truly your own. We imagine desire as a straight line. See the object, want it. Girard says desire is a triangle. Between you and the thing you want, there is always a third point, a model. You want a thing because they want it. You did not independently decide the house, the car, the body were worth wanting. You caught the wanting like a current from watching what others chased and who got admired. Our desires are second hand, borrowed, and mostly we have no idea we are borrowing. And this is the engine of the whole machine. Advertising does not describe products. It shows you a model, a person you'd like to be who has the thing or is adored for it. It hijacks the copying already running inside you. You are not thinking, I need this. You are feeling, underneath language, I want to be that. The object is just the doorway. And that is why nothing is ever enough. You were never chasing the object, only the model's desire, and their desire moves on the moment you catch up. A race with no finish line against people who don't know they're racing you either. So put it together. You live inside a system whose real product is not the good on the shelf. It is dissatisfaction. A person who feels whole and enough is worthless to it. So it works every day through 10,000 images to make you feel the gap, then sells you the object that promises to close it. And the object never does because a closed gap is a lost customer. You are sold the wound and the bandage by the same hand, and the bandage is designed to slip, so you'll buy another. This is why the richest society in history is drowning in a low constant ache of insufficiency, not a side effect. The product working as designed, the machine never stopped. In 1968, an American fashion magazine printed a word English readers had essentially never seen: cellulite. The headline called it the fat you could not lose before. And with that, an ordinary feature of the body, the way fat sits beneath the skin, in most women and plenty of men, became a defect overnight. A condition with a name which meant a condition needing a cure, which meant creams and treatments sold to people who, the week before, had simply had bodies. It is the halitosis trick run again on a different part of you. And it will run again because the supply of possible flaws is infinite. The machine does not run out of lacks, it manufactures them as fast as you can be taught to feel them. Now I have to be honest with you, because it would be easy to walk away thinking all desire is a con and the enlightened move is to want nothing. That is its own kind of trap. You are a wanting creature. Some of what you long for is real and yours and worth pursuing with everything you have. The problem was never desire. The problem is desire installed in you by someone who profits from your emptiness, wearing the mask of your own free choice. So the task is not to stop wanting, it is to tell the difference. To feel a craving arrive and, before obeying it, ask it a few honest questions. Did I want this before I saw that others had it? Whose life am I trying to buy my way into? Who profits from me feeling that I am not yet enough? Most manufactured desires cannot survive that questioning. They depend on speed, on the ache being obeyed before thought catches up. So, the most radical thing you can do is slow down at the moment of wanting and look, because the lack was never real. In 1921, people were not walking around secretly incomplete, missing the mouthwash that would make them lovable. They were fine. The emptiness was manufactured, shipped, and built. And the same is true of almost every gnawing not enough you've been handed about your face, your body, your home, your status. Most of it was installed. Most of it can be uninstalled once you see the hand that put it there. The freedom is quiet and it is real, and it lives in a single pause between the image and the wanting, between the wanting and the buying, between who they keep telling you to become and the truth that you can decide on an ordinary day that you already have enough, that you already are enough. Nobody can sell you a cure for a lack you refuse to feel. So stop feeling it on command. The wound was never real. Put down the bandage. You were always already whole.